Tony and Jennifer, yeah, wants to empower your family about franchise.
It really is a no-brainer. In fact, I'm getting ready to talk myself into getting another group or two because I'm so excited about that.
Hello, everybody. It's Tony Harris Taylor, and
in San Diego. Then you ran me down here in Dallas. So I had.
TJIF show, TJIF show, TJIF show, TJIF show, yeah.
Welcome to the TJIF show. Today is July 29th, and we have a very special guest today, Miss Robin Gagnon from, and she'll say it correctly because I might have messed that up, but from We Sell Restaurants and the chairman of Women in Franchising. My name is Tony Harris Taylor, and I'm a sales and marketing coach with drastic results, marketing and sales coaching, where I teach my clients how to get known, get connected so they can get paid. I'm also a multi-unit franchise owner with Network in Action, where we bring business owners together to network, connect, collaborate, and educate so they can stay in business. Hey, Jennifer.
Hey, Tony. I am Jennifer Callender. I am a certified franchise consultant here in the Atlanta area. I help my clients get into franchise business ownership by understanding their needs and comfortable investment level. And I am just so excited about our guest today.
Yay.
But before we get to that, Tony, what have you been up to this week?
I actually took a little getaway. I'm in Camden, Arkansas as we speak. Don't you love our new business world? You can be anywhere. So I rocked on the porch, I swang on the swing, I drank my lemonade, and I am feeling really great today. Of course, I still got some work done. We had a great meeting with the Fast Signs and Nerds to Go executives for NIA. And so I'm excited about that relationship that is formed.
That's wonderful. So you should be really, really refreshed as we go into next week because we have a big week next week. So I'm getting packed up. So for all of you that don't know, and we've been preaching this every week, that we'll be in Houston, Texas for the Power Networking Conference. And Tony and I will be speaking on franchise business ownership. So we're really excited about that. And for me, this week has been crazy because as you can see there, I have a new brand. I'm branded. And that was a whole major effort. But I'm so glad because I just feel more attached to Ingenious Franchise Solutions. That is the new name of my brand. And I'm really excited about that.
Congratulations on that. That's a major undertaking to rebrand, but I love Ingenious, the play on your name.
That is.
And so that is excellent. Congratulations on that brand.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, let's get our guest to the stage because she has a lot to offer us. Miss Robin Gagnon with the We Sell Restaurants and also the chairman of Women in Franchising. We always like our guests to introduce themselves. So Robin, welcome, and pronounce your last name for me correctly.
Oh, so Tony, there's multiple ways to pronounce it. My husband is Canadian, so his first language is French. When we first got married, I wanted to pronounce it the French way. So I would tell people it was Gagnon, which rhymed, sort of like mignon. They could get that. Nobody could get it. So now it's just plain old Gagnon, Robin Gagnon. Oh, yeah.
I didn't want to say it the country Texas way, Gagnon, but there you go.
That's
so
it.
Welcome, Robin.
Well,
I want to share a little bit. We met Robin when we went to the Franchise Experience Conference in Atlanta a few months ago, and we had dinner. We connected, we had dinner, and here we are. We had the privilege of being her guest on the Women in Franchising Clubhouse on Wednesday, which I definitely want you to tell everybody about. And then here she is as our guest. So timing was beautiful. So thank you again, Robin. Tell us about We Sell Restaurants first.
Fantastic. Love to do that. So, I'm the co-founder of a brand, which is a franchise brand. A lot of people confuse that. They aren't sure that we are a franchise, but we are a franchise business brokerage brand specializing in that single vertical restaurants. We're the largest restaurant brokerage firm in the nation. We work in 45 states. We have franchisees and are actively growing our franchisee network. But we work in about 45 states and have about $250 to $300 million in listing inventory at any given time.
Wow. And
Wonderful.
so you had a very interesting story how you all got to franchising. Will you tell that story?
Well, we started and it was kind of interesting. When we started, Tony, we actually had other business brokers say, why on earth would you specialize? That doesn't make any sense. I have an MBA in finance. You can really value any type of business. Why would you pin yourself into a corner? But we really believed that if you were going to own a certain segment of the marketplace, you just had to have the discipline and belief to invest in that marketplace. So much like Jennifer, you went out and you just rebranded yourself. We branded ourselves as We Sell Restaurants and started 21 years ago. It was my husband and myself. I was still the VP of Strategic Marketing for Federated Department Stores, which is Macy's and Bloomingdale's. And I ran a $4 billion division, the marketing for that division. But at night and on the weekends, I was doing We Sell Restaurants branding and advertising and everything else. And ultimately, I said to my husband, we have to go all in, do this together. And so we did. And it was a labor of love. And like many entrepreneurs, started out very, very small. Then we said, oh, well, we'll grow by bringing on agents. But the thing about bringing on agents is they're not going to be loyal to your brand. You're going to teach them things and then they're going to want to run off and just try to do it on their own. And ultimately, as we got bigger and bigger, because people said, oh, gosh, you started in Atlanta, Georgia, but I have a restaurant in Texas or I have a restaurant in Virginia. Can you help me? And so that vision to sell more restaurants than anyone else began to come to life because people wanted and appreciated that specialist, that person who knew the industry inside out. And so we just kept growing and growing. And we said, if we're going to do this well, it needs to be a franchise, because in franchising, you teach consistency. The customer gets the same experience over and over again. The training is expert and focused on making sure that everyone understands and knows how to do the valuation, how to do the sales cycle. And so we built an incredible engine around this idea of selling restaurants. We built our own back office platform, own our own code, the broker's operations and sales system. We call it the BOSS, which helps our brokers super, super efficient and effective at what they do.
So you have specialized technology and platforms to assist your team with delivering on We Sell Restaurants. So how does it work? Yeah, go ahead, Robin.
No, that's exactly right. So the technology is a big piece of this because, as you bring folks onto your brand, you've got to make sure that they have all the tools available to them and you're developing the experience for them. So our back office platform, the BOSS, you just come in every morning, open it up. All of our marketing goes out through the BOSS. So all of our email blasts. We sent 9.6 million emails last year. We have a massive database of buyers. So all of those buyers that are interested in a specific broker's listings are delivered to them right in real time on their dashboard. So they just start smiling and dialing, something you're probably familiar with, making those outreaches to buyers. But the great efficient piece of the business is that as they're making the outreach, if that person's not interested, that's okay. They just fall off of the report and we continue to market to them and bring them back through the system. But anything associated with that transaction, tracking the deal to closing, every single note that a buyer interacts with you on, every single confidentiality agreement, every single form of a listing agreement or a asset purchase agreement, everything is generated through the BOSS. So we are about removing keystrokes from that interaction to get your broker as efficient as they can possibly be. Because business happens. You guys know this more intimately than anyone I've ever met. business happens when people talk to people, right? It doesn't happen through technology. So the technology is a way to allow them to have those personal interactions. And that's where restaurants are sold, because at the end of the day, we are selling the American dream. We're helping people get into or out of a business. We're sharing their stories and helping them to understand what their tomorrow is going to be. And we take that very, very seriously. And we live to a set of core values that are all built around acting with integrity and making sure that customer experience is the best that it can possibly be.
Awesome.
That's
You
great.
know, you there's something we didn't talk about, and I'm the one that asked the questions. It's like, we didn't talk about this, but I'm gonna put this out there if you don't mind. And that is, you said you and your husband work together. Let's talk about that. How does that work? And encourage those who are in family businesses.
That's right.
Yes. So, I mean, to me, I can't think of a better scenario than working with the person that I care about, love, and have chosen to move through life with, right? So, and the great thing is for the two of us, we have very different personalities and very different strengths and weaknesses. So where he is strong, I am weak. Where he is weak, so together, we're just a dynamic duo going out there to solve problems. And yes, it bleeds into your personal life. But if you're in a business, to me, I mean, people ask me, like, what do you do on Saturdays and Sundays? Well, I garden and I work out and I do all these other things. But my Saturdays and Sundays are also time that I invest in the business, that I want to be doing those extra things. I'm so passionate about this business and growing it. It's not a chore. It's a way of life. So yes, we sit at the breakfast table and go, hey, you know what I thought about? And he'll be like, oh, well, what about this? And so it works out to be an ideal marriage and an ideal situation. And I encourage anyone who has a great relationship should go into business with it, because no one's going to love you and support you and encourage you and pull you along any better than that person who shares your life.
That's
So,
right. That's right. And I tell my clients that franchising is a family affair. So you find that you're bringing the family along in the business as well. So,
well,
Robin,
ultimately, franchising builds generational wealth.
it
And what
does.
you're doing that for your family, right?
That's right. That's right. So, how do your ideal clients, your franchisees, how do they find you? Do they come with the experience and they transition to your model? How does that work? How does all that work?
So that is actually a great question, Jennifer, because interestingly enough, a lot of our franchisees were our restaurant sellers. They sold their business with us. In fact, our very first franchisee sold his business with us and said, man, you guys made that so simple and so easy. When I sell this restaurant, I'm going to become a franchisee of We Sell Restaurants. So people who've been in the restaurant business, but they don't want to do the hours, they don't want to worry about the payroll and the people. We call it the restaurant business with banker's hours. So you're working Monday through Friday, but if you have a background, that anyone who has a passion to serve, who wants to work with people and lead them to the next place that they're going to be in their life, if you're good with numbers financially, whether or not you have restaurant experience isn't required, but a lot of folks do leave the restaurant business and say, I can do this. I can be a restaurant broker in a successful franchise brand.
Mm. And then that's great. So that reminds me of the fact that you have your own self validation process going on, because you extend your services, and then by way of someone experiencing your services, they come on to experience the brand as well. That
Yeah.
is great. Yeah.
And our latest franchisee that just joined us in Scottsdale, Arizona, we are selling his store. So he just finished training and we're closing on his restaurant in 2 weeks. So he's like, this is what I'm going to do. And then I have another multi-unit franchise owner who is, came on board. He just finished training. He just started in the field and he owns 5 restaurants. And he's like, my first restaurants I'm selling are my own so that I can do this full time and create a great lifestyle. We have a franchisee in Charlotte, super successful. He was owned up to 10 Firehouse Subs and has 5 children. And he said for him, it was a lifestyle choice, right? Because the restaurants are so requiring. And it's a great business. Listen, I help people get into the restaurant business all the time. But it's also a lifestyle business. So you need to know when to get in and when to get out. And those people who are coming out appreciate the experience they can have as a franchisee if we sell restaurants.
Wonderful.
Great. And
Well,
what
you-
happened to the we sell restaurants during COVID? What
So that is such a good question. So because like everyone, right, we woke up March 15th of 2020 and said, oh my gosh, what do we do?
Yeah.
And so for us, we really lean on our set of core values. And one of our core values is to act with integrity and only make agreements we are willing and able to keep, and to treat each other, our clients, and internal clients by the golden rule. And we had to be very careful because we have sell in our name. And that could come across as very obnoxious and very inopportune if people were having a tough time in the industry. So we sat everyone in the brand down. We started having calls every single day. And we said, you know what? We're going to stop selling for now. We're putting sales on hold. And we are moving into a coaching and counseling mode. And so every single week, every single day, franchisees get on calls with me, and we're going to learn more than we ever hoped we would have to about PPP loans and EIDL and how people get resources and where they get resources and how they file. And so we really turned into, for probably a good 4 to 5 months, I want to say I published maybe 60 different articles on how restaurants could get help amidst everything that was going on. We gave money from our foundation immediately to things that we're supporting, and we just really refocused our brand to say, you know what, put sales to the side, do the right thing. And ultimately, by the end of the year, we usually use Biz Buy Sell, that's owned by the Wall Street Journal, and they post transactions that happen in the restaurant world specifically, and all businesses. So at the end of 2020, I can tell you that while the marketplace was down 22 percentage points, we were up 8%. So we were 30 points ahead of the marketplace. And by fourth quarter, we were 78% ahead of the prior year in transactions. And the marketplace in restaurant sales was down 48%. And I truly believe it's because we did the right thing. We stopped selling. We helped people who were hurting. We, amassed as much information and shared as much information as we could. And by the time that things started to work their way out by fourth quarter, all that business came back to us, many-fold. And we were very blessed by that and continue to be blessed by that and have had a number of good years.
I love your story and how you switch gears into a posture of service, and it's paid off handsomely. Let's switch gears here and talk about women in franchising.
Okay.
And the fact that you're the chair.
Passion is for supporting women in franchising. So there are these in local groups that you can become involved with. We're called Women's Franchise Networks that are part of the Women's Franchise Committee of the International Franchise Association. So way back when, I want to say 8 years ago, I got involved with relaunching the Atlanta chapter of the Women's Franchise Network, started serving on the executive board and working to bring programming. And the whole point of the Women's Franchise Committee and the entire initiative for the IFA is to support, foster growth, and mentorship for women in franchising. So I worked on the Atlanta committee and then ended up doing a case study that got elevated to the national level. And then ultimately they said, would you, there's this open spot on the Women's Franchise Committee, apply along with everyone else. I did, gratefully was accepted onto the Women's Franchise Committee, and then worked my way up. I was the vice chair last year, and I'm the chair this year. And the Women's Franchise Committee has a number of different really important initiatives that we handle. One is the annual leadership conference of IFA. Fantastic programming. We always just bring on the best of the best, and that happens right before IFA launches for every single year. So we're now planning next year's event, which will happen in February. The second thing that we do is a podcast series where we focus on women, and it's called Her Success. So those come out about once a month, and they're also on the Women's Franchise Committee page of franchise.org. And then the Clubhouse Initiative is one that I started last year, which is every single Wednesday at 12 noon, jump on Clubhouse. And it's a conversation, but it's always around things that are happening in the franchise community. And then the other thing that we do is oversee these women's franchise networks that are happening. We mentor and grow and help them to develop. And so we're always starting new chapters. There's one that's launching in August in Scottsdale. There's a new one in Philly that's going on. I think we're going to end up we started the year with somewhere around 20. We'll end up with 25 to 30 women's franchise networks happening all around the country. And those events, that normally have about a quarterly event. And it's just for networking and meeting other people who are in the franchise community.
Wonderful.
I tell you, we had our experience at the IFA conference in San Diego with the happy hour with the women's and franchising. That was an amazing event. I think that's when I got plugged in. I was like, I have to get back. When I get back home, I'm getting plugged in.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And I think you have a gap in the Houston market. I don't think you have WIF running right now.
No.
We'll talk offline about that.
Yes, that can. I think there could be some talent that could be developed.
Well, you are phenomenal. We really enjoyed being on your show, on the Clubhouse show, but your spirit, and I want you to know, because sometimes we don't know how we come across to other people, but your spirit was just so welcoming. That first night, both of our first time at that type of an event, and you made us feel comfortable that very first night to set the stage for our experience the rest of that week. And Robin, you're special. I know you know that, and you don't need me to say that, but I want you to know that you come across as a very special, giving person, and that franchising is part of your core, and you just want us to all win. And I want to thank you for that.
Oh, Tony, I will tell you, when I went into franchising, our franchise coach at the time said to me, Robin, you will never understand until you are in franchising how generous the franchising community is and how much people will reach out a hand to help you. And I have had so many hands raised out to me to build me along and lead me on. And it touches my heart to know that you see in some small way I'm able to pay a little bit of that forward. So thank you for your very precious words.
Yeah,
You're
and
welcome.
I echo that, because you took time. You actually invited us to dinner, and then every time you saw us along the way, you just greeted us with a warm heart, and I just really appreciate that. So I want to pivot just to close this all out. What's on the horizon for resale restaurants? What does that look like?
Oh my goodness. So this past year, we really focused on growth of our brand, and we doubled in size. And so we are going to continue that mission. There is such a need. And when we started We Sell Restaurants, we were doing probably maybe 70% of the deals we were doing were independent operators and about 30% franchises. And that's completely flipped. There is such demand for our services to help franchisors, because as you're bringing people in, if you have a robust sales cycle, you're going to need somebody to assist you on the resale side, because it's just a natural outcome, right? People retire. Partnerships don't work out, or you're very successful, but your husband's got a job across the country now. And so we're able to fill that very specific need. And we see that's only going to grow because if you look at the age of franchising, where it is in its life cycle, the baby boomers that own franchises that are now retiring 10,000 a day between now and 2030, the people who love and are just glued to Food Network and all the different TV shows that kind of say, hey, restaurants are a cool and interesting thing to get into. We don't see anything but growth on the horizon for our brand. So I hope you'll think of folks who might be a good fit and send them our way.
For sure. Definitely
On
will.
that note, we have Robin's information scrolling across. If you are interested in becoming a franchisee, reach out to Jennifer. She'll make the connection for you. If you're just interested in knowing more about who Robin is, who the brand is, and then women in franchising, her information is scrolling across the bottom of the screen. We appreciate you, Robin, so much. Thank you for stopping by. And if you'll just hang out in the back of the StreamYard room, we would appreciate that, and we'll be right with you. Give her a round of applause, Robin. Yay!
Yay, Robin.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. So we've got the Power Networking Conference coming up. It's not too late to register. If
That's
you
right.
are interested in joining us, we actually speak on Friday evening. And so powernetworkingconference.com, the agenda is up. You can see all the powerhouse speakers that are going to be there, the agenda, and it's all about your health, your wealth, and making sure that you are being a well-rounded entrepreneur. Powernetworkingconference.com next Wednesday through Saturday. And yes, Jennifer, make sure you bring your comfortable shoes because you're going to be tired.
For sure. For
It's
sure.
amazing. And then if you want to learn the 7 steps to franchise ownership, go to tjifshow.com and download our gift to you, 7 steps to franchise ownership. It's a great way to whet your appetite for what franchise ownership is possible, what it could look like for you in your life and in your business.
That's
And then
right.
if you want to connect with either of us, you can go ahead and catch our information as it scrolls across the bottom. I personally am looking for leaders who have a heart for small business ownership to run network and action groups around the English speaking world. So it can be anywhere in the world as long as you all speak English. Please reach out to me because I am looking to grow and help business owners stay in business.
So I am Jennifer Calendar, and I forgot to share with Robin that Mia White in the chat says, "Welcome, Robin." I don't know if Robin knows her, but she chimed in the chat. But I am Jennifer Calendar. I am a certified franchise consultant. Again, I'm interested in working with those that are interested in becoming franchise business owners or wanting to explore just simply what that looks like. I'm willing to meet with you and just provide you with the information to support your journey. So I look forward to talking with you. And if you're interested in franchising for today, tomorrow, and
And forever.
forever.
We'll see you next week. Bye. All right.